Start trading crypto today. Sign up for our step-by-step video series to get set up with the best trading tools. Start analyzing charts, enter and exit trades properly, and most importantly, find out if crypto trading is right for you. Sign up at bitlabacademy.com.
Welcome to Rice TV X. You've just tuned in for the newest episode of the Rice Crypto Show. And today I am joined by the hosts of Debate Crypto, Crypto Keeper and Blockchain Crusader. I invited them on for a YouTube spotlight so I can learn more about them, their YouTube channel, and their upcoming NFT project, Danger Close Alpha. Before we get into it, visit ricetvx.com and sign up for my mailing list so you never miss an update or new Rice TVX content. You will also find my various social media links and more. You can also find Rice TVX on Odyssey and Library, where I have a full catalog of my videos, post up extra content, and share other appearances. And you can also find Rice TVX on BitChute. I've partnered up with MY PATRIOT SUPPLY so that you can prepare for these uncertain times. Visit www.prepwithrice.com. I highly recommend MY PATRIOT SUPPLY, America's largest emergency preparedness company. Act quickly and you'll save $150 off their essential 3-month emergency food kit, which contains an abundance of delicious foods that provides more than 2,000 calories a day. This includes free shipping quickly and in unmarked boxes to your doorstep. Visit www.prepwithrice.com as an additional way to support the channel. I will include links in the video description for everything I just mentioned, as well as everything shared on today's video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me on today's show are the hosts of Debate Crypto. I have Crypto Keeper and Blockchain Crusader in the house. Welcome to Rice TVX, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Dude, we're doing great. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having us.
Cool. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the conversation. I will include the link for the appearance that I made on Debate Crypto with Crypto Keeper the day that Crusader ended up not being able to participate, that I got to be on. So I'll have that link down below. And I definitely encourage people to make sure that you guys are going over and subscribing to Debate Crypto if you're not already subscribed. Again, everything that we talk about is going to be linked down below in the video description. Now, since there's two of you, I'm going to go ahead, I guess, and start with Keeper. Keeper, do you mind kind of giving a little bit of an introduction of yourself, how and when you got in crypto?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for having us on. We appreciate, excuse me, we appreciate you. I know one of the things, just as an aside, whenever I would see, before I ever got on around the blockchain, I would see you on there, and I just really appreciated the different viewpoint that you brought to the space. And I know Miguel and I had talked previous about what you bring to the space, and we really liked it. So we're super happy to be on here. We definitely appreciate you having us. But about 5 years ago, jumped into crypto. I've got the same story as a lot of people. I had a buddy, right? I had a buddy that was doing mining. My buddy always had these what I thought were cockamamie ideas of how to just scheme up and hustle up some money. Well, this one wasn't so cockamamie, and I ended up jumping in. It absolutely has been life-changing for myself and my family. And, fast forward, the social media stuff didn't start till about a year ago, and we can dive into that in a couple minutes if you want to dive into that with Miguel and I and TikTok and all of that. But yeah, for me, it was literally getting introduced by a buddy who was doing mining. I thought it was kind of crazy at first. Then I finally dipped my toe into the water. And then the largest amount that I had bought at like a single time was actually one of the best decisions I ever made, which was in March of 2020. I bought the heck out of that dip. And I think it was one of the best things I ever did.
That was definitely a good buying opportunity. And it was a brave move, considering, a lot of the things that were going on in the space, just everything that was happening around the world, because we've seen basically they had, with the stock markets, they had to halt trading. So had it not been for halting trading several times, we would have seen a crash of our traditional stock market. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for making a smart, ballsy move.
You know what? I looking back on it, I like to pat. I'm sure, yeah, I'll pat myself on the back. But at the same time, I think we think a lot like you do, Rice. And you'll hear this more as we dive in. I didn't look at this as something that was going to end the world as we knew it, right? End the world as we know it. I looked at this as a play by our political system to manipulate and control, and I wasn't going to allow them to manipulate and control my money. So that's kind of why I said, heck no. Well, let's
Well
get it.
said. Well said. Well, what about you, Mr. Crusader? How and do you mind kind of introducing yourself and letting us know how and when you got involved in crypto?
Yeah, so I got involved in 2017. The reason I got involved in the first place was because I was looking at Bitcoin since 2013, and every couple of years I saw the Bitcoin price go up, and I always said, "Well, one day I'll get into it. One day I'll get into it. One day I'll get into it." And I was like tired of waiting for that one day and seeing the price just go up, and just pass me. So I jumped in 2017, got involved, made a bunch of mistakes on the way up to the top of the Bitcoin market and all the way back down, right? And I did a lot of learning in 2018, 2019, read the Bitcoin Standard, which completely changed my viewpoint on what money is, how money works. Yeah, that book right there completely changed my life. So then after that, I definitely said, wait a minute, I can't miss out on this Bitcoin thing anymore. And then just kept dollar cost averaging, doing my research, doing all kinds of mistakes. I mean, I took out loans. I did all kinds of weird stuff to get into crypto. But it was a great learning experience, and it's definitely taking me to a place where I couldn't have gotten here without making those mistakes first, and now got into creating content just a year ago to help people that are now jumping into crypto so many years later, and to help them avoid those mistakes.
Yeah, that's what I was actually thinking as you were talking about it. Is you obviously made several mistakes, but the best thing is that you learn from it and being able to uh, communicate that information to others, so hopefully they can avoid it entirely. And now
Exactly.
I am kind of a strong believer though that I feel as if everyone who gets involved in crypto needs to make some sort of mistake. I don't wish it to be like sending a Bitcoin to an Ethereum address or something like that, but just a mistake enough to where it really makes people focus on the fact that I'm responsible for myself, and being your own banker, you have to put your big boy pants on or your big girl pants on and actually do things for yourself. Because in the world that we deal with today, with our banking system the way it is, people don't do that. When I was growing up, my parents used to balance a checkbook. I remember them spending time doing that. I don't even think people even do that anymore. They have applications on their phones, and they're just kind of keeping up with it as they go. So I mean, a lot of things have changed. So that's one of the things that helped me when I first got involved in crypto, was making those mistakes and then wanting to teach other people how to avoid those mistakes at the same time. So I appreciate you guys sharing that. How did you, I mean, obviously you guys decided to create your YouTube channel, but what made the two of you, how did you connect, and what made the two of you decide to work together
Yeah.
on
So
creating a show?
Yeah, it was a crazy,
go ahead, Miguel. Go ahead.
experience. I ran into Nick, Crypto Keeper, right, on TikTok, and I saw him live. He back then had a way better beard than he has now. He had a beard all the way like down to his chest, and I was like, "What does this guy know about crypto?" So I started listening to him. Right, I had seen one of his early viral videos about talking about lumber prices and the lumber prices being super high. So it caught my interest. Reached out to him and said, "Hey, bro, let's go live together someday and let's talk about crypto." And he told me, "Nah, get out of here."
it's actually to be fair, it probably wasn't quite that harsh, but I will tell you, I was so new in the space that I was very, very concerned about not having anyone that was going to tarnish what I was trying to build. And so I did say no at first, but what I really said was, hey, I'd really like to talk to you before going live, kind of, whatever, let me check out some of your content, whatever. And then the moment that I started watching, the moment that I talked to him and then finally said, yeah, like let's go live, it just clicked from there. And it started with TikTok. We would do the dual lives quite a bit. I have my biggest following on TikTok because, again, we just started Debate Crypto back in August, I guess is when it started. So it hasn't even been but what, 7-ish months or so, 8 months. And it's been great. We have a lot of things. It's Debate Crypto because our slogan is question everything, trust nothing. And we have it is a crypto-centric channel, but a lot of what we do is questioning the narratives that are put in front of us. And Miguel and I both think on that plane, but we also, in between each other, have lots of little internal debates, right? Invariably, XRP was going to come up tonight. Miguel was going to, chastise me for that. So let's just get it out of the way now. We have differences of opinions. And I think it's good. I think people seeing that crypto does not have to be just an echo chamber. So, we do Monday through Saturday live stream, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesdays are What If Wednesdays. Rice, I think we're going to have you on tonight for a What If Wednesday. We got an interesting topic coming up tonight, so that's going to be fun. And then Saturdays are probably our most watched, at least right now, and that is influencer debates. Not just influencer, but most of the time it's influencer debates, and we are putting out real topics and saying, hey, let's look at both sides of this. Let's have a discussion, a debate, a real back and forth, not just a, hey, I'll rub your back, you rub mine.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
No, real quick,
Go
quick.
ahead.
I need to add something in because you mentioned XRP, and somebody had that I had talked to earlier. I told them I was going to be having you guys on the show, and told me to mention apparently Crusader has a large accumulation of XRP.
Yes,
Is
yes,
that- is that-
he
is
won't
that the
admit
case
it.
here?
That's 100%
Are you a
false.
closet XRP bag holder?
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't touch that thing at all. I mean, I just can't deem myself to hold any XRP. Yeah,
Well,
I just
you
can't do
can thank Sean C for throwing out that
it. Yeah, Sean.
tidbit of information.
That's our boy. Sean's a good
Yeah.
dude.
So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Crusader.
I just want to say that the reason, with the whole debate crypto is we thought that, hey, the crypto space needs people to, like Nick will say, break the echo chamber and bring two sides of a topic to it, right? XRP, perfect example. I hate XRP. Nick is invested in XRP, likes XRP, whatever. And we talk about both sides, right? Because a lot of channels, a lot of creators get stuck in an echo chamber, and people just follow them because this person only speaks about XRP and doesn't speak about anything else. And it's like that's not the kind of way to be about when you're coming about investing in crypto and just learning in general. When you're a new person, you don't want to get stuck in those kind of mindsets. You want to hear the pros and the cons to anything you're getting involved with. And in the world that we're living in now, where unfortunately a lot of people don't like to have discussions. They just like to just shut down when you're trying to have a discussion. We thought it was very important to have these type of discussions that most people don't feel like they get every day.
And I definitely appreciate what you guys are doing on your channel. I was pulling up the video from when I appeared on you guys' channel, so I'll make sure I get that linked down below in the video description. Okay, so I get the fact that Keeper, you were doing a TikTok before YouTube. Crusader, did you have a YouTube channel before, or were you on TikTok as well?
No, so I was on TikTok around the same time. I was already creating content on TikTok in May of last year, around the same time that Nick started. And I already had my, first 1,000 followers or whatever, so I could go live with him. And that's how I reached out to him. I was like, hey, dude, let's go live. Let's do something. But definitely started content on TikTok. And then after a few months of talking and hanging out and having these little mini debates back and forth, I was like, dude, like, let's do a YouTube channel. Let's do exactly that.
Yeah.
And I love the channel name. I mean, Debate Crypto is a really cool name. And you guys have done pretty well, because I think you were like under 3,000 subscribers when I appeared on your channel.
We've been growing for sure. The market's been tough. I think that and not just the market, but when the market's tough, I think that we're starting to realize really quickly that the follower count, the subscriber count starts to slow down. But yeah, we've definitely been moving. But we can thank people like you, Rice. We are friends with a lot of the people in the space. I'm good friends with Ben, with BitBoy, so I'm on Around the Blockchain every Monday. Miguel's been on there a number of times. We've got a lot of really good friends in the space that we have made through the space. And Crypto Face, good friend of ours, we got you and Blood, and like I'm obviously going to miss people. Zombie, like all of these people have been really good to us. And so one of the things I do want to say that we want to do as we continue to grow, and Miguel and I have spoke specifically about this, the newer creators that where we see what they're doing and we like what somebody's doing, we want to be able to do the same thing that people have done for us. And I think that's really important, because it's very easy to be like, well, what can this person do for me all the time? That's really simple, right? But I see what people like yourself and other creators are doing and coming alongside and saying, hey, let's bring this up. Let's lift each other up. And I think it's super important.
Well, what's really beautiful about what you just said is this is an entirely circular event, because I've had people help me out. And in a sense, what I'm doing now is trying to help you guys out. And then in the future, you guys get to help someone else out. So this is a very circular, beautiful community growing event. And that's, you guys have actually been really smart, because during a bear market, when viewership is low, when it comes to the crypto content, if you are doing collaborations with channels that are bigger than yours and bringing on other different hosts from bigger channels, it helps to build that audience, because every content creator has at least a little insulated audience, regardless of bear market, bull market. And I think that's what's helped you guys out a lot with traction. And I could say personally, just from Crypto Zombie, when I went on his show and he came on mine, and this has been a while back, it definitely affected my numbers, and it was very much appreciated. And he did the same thing for me that he did with you guys, because I watched Zombie, and I've heard him mention on shows over the past week or two about appearances on Debate Crypto. So that's another, he's throwing that out on his shows to help promote what's going on with what he did previously, and it brings more attention to you guys. So I'm sure that you're seeing that growth, and I think that's a really smart move. And I wanted to invite you guys on, not only because I'm just looking to help you guys out, but I find a lot of similarities and commonalities between our beliefs.
No doubt. There's not a question about that.
Obviously we don't agree about everything 100%, but I think that we are a lot more on page, especially as crypto content creators versus some of the others, especially when we're thinking a little bit more outside the box, kind of going down the conspiracy alleys.
I think it's important.
Prepper mentality. If I hate that word just because it's been put such a negative connotation to it, but
I think it's important. We'll get into the NFT thing later, but I think it's you just said it really well. Like, prepper mentality, I hate that word because it has a negative connotation. When we say the word prepper, people immediately think of the doomsday preppers, where they think of this crazy guy who's built a bunker in his backyard and he's doing run-throughs, laying out in the woods with a bow and arrow.
So you don't have a bunker?
Not yet.
Because I would be extremely disappointed, man.
Listen, we're working on it. If we get enough people, surrounding and coming up with us, hey, I'm not opposed to having a bunker. Let's get it.
I just figured with the beard down to your feet, there's a bunker involved somewhere.
Yeah, we're working on the bunker. Just don't tell too many people, because I don't want people trying to bombard it. I was in the Marine Corps. I'm going to be able to defend my bunker as well. So,
and you're a forward thinking individual, and that's I've enjoyed our conversations that we've had privately. We met in Miami. That was really cool. Glad that we got to meet all of us in person, and we'll kind of get into some of the, because your NFT project that we're going to be talking about has some kind of basis around some of the things we just mentioned. So we'll kind of get into that. But what can people expect to find who've never went over to or checked out your channel, unfamiliar with you guys? What can people expect to find visiting and checking out videos over at Debate Crypto? And Miguel, I guess if you want to start off.
Besides fun, entertaining show of, Nick and I busting each other's balls back and forth while having the show, is you're going to find a well-rounded conversation and bringing different, out of the box thinking. And, so sometimes I say things that Nick's never thought of, and Nick brings something up. And it's like, oh man, that's something that, you know, we get to bounce each other ideas off each other live in the video at the moment as we're processing some of this information that's coming out. And if it's a What If Wednesday and we already have a crazy topic ahead of time, we're going to get deep into some crazy rabbit holes because we get to bounce off each other these crazy ideas. And so I think it brings a lot of well-rounded education to people, and that's what we try to focus for a lot.
You're muted.
That's the only thing that sucks about going through multiple browsers is when I am muted. It's
No
sometimes a challenge to get
No
back.
worries.
Do you have anything you want to add to that, Keeper?
Yeah, for sure. That was absolutely exactly just about what I would say. The other thing I would say is you're not going to get spoon-fed any BS. We're not going to co-sign any garbage. Like, we call things how we see them. We have definitely strong opinions about things, but we do have that open mind as well to see, hey, you know what? There's not just one side to every story. There's not even two sides to every story. A lot of times there's three sides to every story. And so we're definitely open to new ideas, but we're going to give it to you straight. We're going to bring it to you exactly how we feel about it. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to sugarcoat something that we feel is a certain way, even when you know, we've had kind of little ideas that we're going to get demonetized for saying certain things, and we joke around and talk about how we're on a list somewhere, which we joke, but we probably are. You know, we are who we are, and we're not going to hide that. So that's what you're going to get for sure.
Well, I've done what I like to think is a really good job of being able to navigate through the censorship. I went for about a year and a half maintaining at least one strike on my channel. But since February 7th, I've been strike free. And a lot of it, I think, is just the way that I'm communicating. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And from a spiritual perspective, I was raised with Christian values, and I believe in the teachings of Jesus. And Jesus spoke when he spoke in public, he spoke in parables.
Mm-hmm.
When he spoke in private, he spoke plainly. So when I'm talking about certain subjects that might trigger the algo, I'll just use different words, just kind of code language. You know, if I talk about vacations and jobs,
yeah,
you get the gist of what I'm saying, especially if they're like forcing me to take a vacation.
Right.
Yeah.
When I don't even have a job or even want a job.
Right.
You know, so you can get through things in a very slick way. Just a matter of how you do it. Sometimes you can even just break words up.
It's kind of sad though. It's kind of sad that we have to do that, you know?
It is, but unfortunately,
you got to play ball to some extent.
I want to see what happens more with Texas and Florida, where they're pushing these laws where there can't be any censorship and any shadow banning and things to that effect with these social media channels, because there has been a court case where PragerU was suing Google and YouTube for to define themselves as a publisher or a public forum, because you can't be both. And also about the First Amendment. And it was ultimately ruled in a California federal court that private companies, corporations like Google and YouTube aren't bound by the First Amendment. So I'm curious how that's going to play in from a state perspective. And my idea is, like, you know, I've looked into things as far as private and public. You can invest in Google and YouTube publicly. Anybody can use their services without signing a membership agreement or a privacy agreement or anything to that effect. So I'm not really sure where the whole privacy aspect comes in. They're a public corporation in the United States, as far as I'm concerned. So the First Amendment, they should be bound by it. But until there's like really a clear line in the sand definition with this, we have to play game, because YouTube is the second largest search engine. It's not even a search engine. It trounces all the other video platforms probably combined. So, you know, it's important to use it. It's just important to learn how. It does suck. I get it. But I try to make as much fun out of it as I possibly can instead of letting it bring me down. Because I felt really shitty self-censoring for a while.
It has to be done because it's the only way to get the information out to the viewers, right? To the people that are trying to learn, the beginners in crypto, right? They're gonna go to YouTube. They're not gonna go to these other crazy websites or smaller platforms. That the audiences are just not there. If they are, they're more advanced in topics that we're already talking about. So if you want to onboard all these new people and educate them, you have to play ball with these platforms to be able to bring out the information. And that's the only way we're going to get more people into crypto and just educated about what's happening in the world.
Totally agree. And I mean, I appreciate too, you guys keeping it real on the channel, because there are a lot of channels that I think just put out fluff, bunch of BS content that really doesn't have like any value to it, doesn't really teach anybody anything, or even get people to start thinking about things differently. Because I've tried to challenge what I think I know. Like I brought on Kurt Werkert from CoinGeek. He's a big BSV fan. Very pro BSV, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the blockchain, but I'm open to learning more. I wasn't a huge fan of, and I'm still not a huge fan of XRP, but I am still open to bringing people on to bring a different perspective that I may not have thought about, because sometimes you get blinded, and that's happened with me being in the space for so long. Because it's interesting. I even heard today around the blockchain, I'm not going to mention who said it, but somebody was mentioning the Bitcoin white paper and talking about the Genesis block and what was put in the Genesis block as far as that chancellor quote. And
I don't know.
Well, there's a quote from a bank saying the chancellor reports bank is on the brink of, and it was put in the Genesis block of the very first block of Bitcoin. And someone was commenting on that, saying that the reason for that was because Satoshi built this because of the 2008 situation. And I got a totally different perspective. And the other perspective that I get would be that Craig Wright is Satoshi, or highly involved with that. And the creation of Bitcoin wasn't as a lifeboat for people away from fiat. It was just supposed to be an internet peer-to-peer cash system. So I mean, we should always try to keep our mind open. I didn't mean to go into a long explanation about that, but
no, dude, I completely agree with you. Like, I'm a huge fan of Bitcoin, but I always question my thoughts on Bitcoin of, like, there is no privacy on there, and privacy is a big issue that's happening nowadays, where people are just getting used to having zero privacy. And if you want privacy, you're doing something wrong, right? That's why you're trying to hide, and that's not the way to have. That's not the point of view that you should have when you're talking about privacy. But we've been programmed to think that way. So I definitely have to question my thoughts on what Bitcoin is really out to do at the end of the long term, even though I love Bitcoin a lot.
I've heard a lot of people dive into some of the inner workings and diving. Like, I think it's very important for us to educate ourselves and understand the technology that we are utilizing. But I've also heard the other side of it, where it's like, hey, do I need to know all of the inner workings of the HTTPS? I think Rice, actually, I think I've heard you say this, but now that I think about it, I think I've heard you say this before. And the reality is, as good as it is to be as educated as possible, you could still utilize the technology without understanding every single little piece apart, along the way. And I think a good mix of those two is definitely important to grasp hold of.
yeah, I agree. I think people definitely need to take time to, make sure that they're educating themselves, but at the same time, not limit yourself because you don't understand how the technology works, because that is a BS excuse, because most people, and I say most, don't know how email works.
Yep.
I'm still, and you were right with what you said. I'm 47 years old, and I am still like really confused about this magical device called a camera. I mean, that is just the idea of even this, like,
of what we're doing right now.
This
Yes,
is,
I agree.
mean, this is like, if you were to go back in time, this would be like magic to people. And I mean, this is,
100%.
and I have no clue. I know it involves like voice over internet protocol. I know it involves all these different things, but I don't know how it works.
And does it ultimately matter unless there's some deep dark secret buried in it that we're not familiar with, right? That's a whole other story. But I totally agree with you, man.
All great
I
points.
totally agree.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your guys' NFT project. And I definitely want to have you guys back on the show more. Invite you guys on for some roundtables. I just want to do this initial spotlight introduction to you guys as individuals, and then as a collective as Debate Crypto. So let's talk a little bit about, and I'll share the link here for Danger Close Alpha. Your guys' NFT drop is going to be happening sometime soon. There's no announcements, there's no dates, everything's in the works. But yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. This is something that's near and dear to Miguel and I's heart. I will tell you that to simplify it, we felt like the NFT space was full of, projects that weren't actually bringing forth any good in people's physical life outside of the metaverse or the crypto space. And Miguel and I are big proponents of understanding that you need to be, I feel like, and so does Miguel, we feel like we have a responsibility to our families to be prepared. Now, again, when I say prepared, I didn't say we had to have a bunker set up, right? But a nice, well-rounded preparation of, maybe some extra food storage, right? Maybe the ability to filter water, maybe an understanding of if things, got really crazy, how to build a shelter, how to build a fire, definitely ammunition, diversifying in our portfolios. And so as Miguel and I, talked about all of these different things that we felt like we have a responsibility to our family to get into, we said, you know what is everything that we're doing about? It's about our community. And what better than to have a community of people around that are prepared should something crazy happen. And it doesn't need to be, it could be government tyranny, but it doesn't need to be that. It could be economic collapse as well that plays a part and spills over into the rest of what we have going on. It could be a tornado. It could be any sort of natural disaster, all the way up to something that's planned, an EMP. And so we just felt like we need to bring the crypto community and the survivalist / prepper community together. And the crypto community is already preppers, whether they realize it or not. And I'll tell you why. They are preparing for the collapse of the dollar. Right?
Most. I just want to add that in. Most.
I agree. So a lot of them are preparing for the collapse. A lot, right? And so with that mentality, well, it's not also bad to be prepared for something in your personal life or your physically, with your family, to be prepared as well. And so we wanted to bring that to the forefront. And I'll let Miguel dive into this, and I'll let him tell about the actual project with the characters and the utilities and things like that. But we thought, bottom line, we need to be able to educate people in this space the same way that we educated people with our academy. We have Debate Crypto Academy, DCA, Danger Close Alpha, DCA. You see what I'm saying?
Know that. Yeah, that's why you wanted that link address for the DCA BTC.
Tricky. So Miguel, why don't you dive into the project, the artist? We got lots of dope stuff that we've been doing.
Yeah, man. So like Nick was saying, right, the whole people focus on the metaverse, and we're super bullish on the metaverse eventually when it's done right. But in the meantime, until you can be able to, digitize your consciousness and live online forever, you need to be able to protect yourself in real life from anything that can happen. So we thought that, this project would focus heavily on real life utility. And I don't think there's a lot of projects out there that do a lot of real life stuff. And, it's not just real life meetups, it's skills and resources that will actually help you in any kind of problem. So we have 4 characters. We have the merchant, we have the engineer, the medic, and the hunter, which we believe are the 4 pillars to survive in a community, right? So if you have a tribe, you have a community of people all working together, everybody in there should have at least those 4 skills to be able to work together to continue to survive long term. Because surviving alone, maybe with one other person, your buddy, your wife, you can survive for a little bit of time, but you're limited on how far you can go before you run into a bigger force out there. So you're always going to need community. And it's one of the main focus of the project is to build a real life community, which is why all the real life utility helps doing that, because we're going to be meeting up in real life, working together, learning together, to be going out on these trips, whether they're a hiking trip in the woods for a week or two, going out to these training boot camps, these training sessions. So that will build the community already with these people that are also the holders, and you're going to be getting prepared, be able to hold up communications if anything were to happen, to keep everybody informed of what is happening around the nation.
Yeah, no, that's such a really cool idea. I mean, now, obviously, I want to dig a little bit deeper, but when you guys had first told me about this idea, I thought it was really cool. And you are right. There are a lot of projects out there that really don't have a lot of utility or real use case. So I think creating utility and use case with these kind of things brings more validity to the whole NFT space as a whole, because we definitely have seen the whole JPEG movement that I think turned a lot of people off. So creating a real kind of utility aspect, community. And when you guys were talking about the whole thing about surviving, I think about history. And if you look at human beings, our species throughout history, we've been tribal by nature. We tend to gather in groups. Sometimes, like especially from here in the United States with Native Americans, you had a bunch of tribes, and then you had tribal councils that were made up of leaders or spokespeople from those tribes, so they could have their communication. So I think this is an excellent idea, man. I really am excited. I know that I definitely want to do what I can to help you guys out with the project.
Yeah, we definitely would like to involve you. We've talked about it a little bit. One of the things that we are doing and are working through as part of the project is the holders are all going to have access to a private server, legitimately a private server. We believe that if the government, whatever entity would set the or take the quote grid down, we believe that this is just what we believe, that it won't be the whole grid, because they need the electrical grid as much as we do. And so our thoughts are, what are they going to do? Most likely, if they were to do that, they want to shut down our forms of communication. They want to shut down all of our social media. We've already seen the censorship happening on different places, right? So what we're doing is creating a private server where all of us can communicate. We're going to be putting intelligence reports out on that. And Rice, you actually pointed us towards some really valuable the freedom
cells.
The freedom cells, and like that's ultimately what this is. This is a movement. We want people involved. We're not just trying to flex a cool piece of art that's drawn up by a heck of an artist. By the way, we do have an artist that we hired from DC Comics. He is freaking fantastic. Shout out to Kanan.
What is the artist's name? How do you spell it?
His name's Kanan. Canaan.
Yeah, that's how you spell it.
Yeah, and he, I guess it could, Miguel, I don't know if you wanted to pull up his Instagram or if you wanted to show an example of one of the pieces of art, but at any event.
It's a character. There's a character named Jebediah of Canaan, because Canaan is a country. I'm trying to look for the artist.
I know Canaan land from the Bible. I did not know that Canaan is an actual country. I did not know that.
Well, the land of Canaan.
He's got an Instagram that's pretty dope.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, Canaan. What's
Instagram?
His Miguel is he's doxed.
I'm trying to look for it. Hold on. I don't know.
Right. I was thinking, wait a minute. Can we
just let me know what the username is, and I'll pull it up on my
I think Miguel's
on my Instagram. I can't pull my Instagram up because it's not safe.
But yeah, so while he's pulling that up, I'll just say we wanted to have a well-rounded project and also have some dope art with it, because we've seen also a lot of projects that some of them super cool art, but no community. We've then seen heck of a community that surrounds around, I mean, let's call it what it is, junky art. We wanted to build the best of those worlds, build a community and have some dope art at the same time. And I think that was just an extra, that was the icing on top of the cake, so to speak, was hiring him. We spent good money doing that. But we believe that we are either going to have the most expensive JPEGs on planet Earth for ourselves, and Miguel jokingly said we're going to need a lot of frames to put up around our house, or we're going to have a heck of a community surrounding us. And I think that it's going to be the latter. We're really excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Did
so
you
I
send that?
just shared the Instagram of the artist.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna
see it. It's in
copy
the.
it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna copy it so I can paste it over.
he's really
Another thing,
talented.
while you guys were talking, since I talked to you both, I've done an interview with somebody with a project that I had completely forgotten about. In all
Yeah, who's that?
honesty, I want to tell you about it here in a second. I just want to look through Mr. Canaan White's stuff here. Nice art. This kind of
He's
reminds
super
me of, and I
talented.
guess it is Gambit from the X-Men.
Yeah, I believe that's who that is.
Yeah, it looks like it because it has the X back there. So he's not just limited to DC, which is cool because I used to be a big comic book collector. This must be the new Green Lantern. Interesting. Cool,
Yeah, I don't
man.
know. I don't know the comic space well enough to know, but I just know that we took a couple looks at his art, spoke with him, really enjoyed. So shout out to Kanan if you're watching. I mean, he's just a heck of a guy too. Like sometimes you meet with somebody like when we met Rice, and I was like, man, I resonate with that person. Same thing with Kanan, just really on the same level as us, and we really appreciate him.
Sweet, man. Yeah, so when you guys were talking about having a private server and stuff, I had done an interview, and I'll send you a link for the interview so that you can listen to one of the main guys behind the project. I'm going to go ahead real quick and show you. It's called Quartal with a Q, Qortal. It's a decentralized, community-driven hardware layer up, unique egalitarian minting protocol and distributed leveling system. I know that sounds a bunch of like crap, but so what they have going on here
.org.
Quartal.org, yeah. So they have they have basically their own internet infrastructure through their Quartal system. You can have websites on the Quartal system. You can even have the website as an emoji. So they have, I don't know if it's an intranet or if it's an internet, but it's a way of communicating privately. The entire blockchain stores on a Raspberry Pi. They have these devices that they're getting ready to put out that I have in the video that I shared, where they have it's a Raspberry Pi keyboard that has the Raspberry Pi built into it with an SD drive that you can plug into a monitor, and it gives you an operating system that runs off of Linux based, something that's Linux based. So it's really an intensive project.
The technology now, I'm not a techie
and
guy.
They're doing web
crazy.
and DApp hosting on a blockchain.
That's
wow.
Web and DApp hosting on a blockchain.
That's
So
super dope.
Yeah,
this
you gotta
looks
check
super
into the
interesting.
project and check out the interview that I did with them and see how because as much as you can be partnering up with and utilizing technology in the space, I think would be really, really good for everybody overall. And it just builds it helps with that community building aspect.
Yeah, 100%. That project looks really interesting. Definitely going to be looking into that.
Let me see if I can pull up really quickly a picture of this device so I can show you guys, because it's really impressive. Like,
so you can do a lot with Raspberry Pis. I mean, you have a whole computer this big in your pocket, right? Just like your phone, and it's like you can keep it really creative, and you can modify it to do a lot of different things and
put some whipped cream on a Raspberry Pi, bro. And I'm telling you, it's something.
Not that kind of Raspberry Pi.
Okay, I'm almost at the screen. I'm just pulling through the pictures now so I can get it pulled up.
Yeah, as you're pulling that up, just to kind of finalize and bring around what we just kind of bring it home a little bit. We are all about what can we do to push people further into their open-mindedness and their thinking and their learning, and that's what we want to do. And we want to bring that towards the forefront of their minds and say, hey, you know what, I don't have to go the same way that everybody else is going. I can do something for myself, for my family, and be a part of a community that might be a little bit different than the norm, but ultimately is setting me up for success in the long run should something wild happen. And that's what we're all about.
So this is a picture of it right here where you can see like the keyboard.
So is it like plug into the keyboard and
everything's in the keyboard, and then you plug the keyboard into the monitor?
That's
and
wild.
It gives you an operating system.
So are they a hardware company then? Is that what they're working on?
They're going to be producing hardware, but it's a blockchain cryptocurrency related project. They don't use proof of stake or proof of work. They've got a different consensus algorithm. They've kind of taken out the value of money in a way. It's really interesting. You got to check out the entire interview.
When did you enter? I mean, I know we can just look it up, but how long ago was that?
Just recently, past 2 weeks, he's been on.
We're gonna need to reach out to them, Miguel.
So I interviewed him like 1.5 years ago before the project officially launched, and they were using some other technologies. I think they originally had started out trying to revive the Burst community and Burst coin, and they ended up rewriting the code. And there was something else. I think might have been Quorum, some kind of Quorum technology. That's where the Q came in. And then they just ended up building this thing. And then he himself, this guy named Jason Crow, who the guy that I interviewed, he does hardware. So he has been putting together these things where they're going to be selling these units where people can literally just plug into a monitor and have an operating system. And it could already have all the Chordal stuff preloaded so that you can go into the application, communicate, because it has encrypted peer-to-peer messaging. It's basically got some like Telegram like functions where you can have group chat. It's all peer-to-peer, it's all encrypted, and it's all blockchain based. So that's normally I wouldn't take time during an interview to say something like this, but when you mentioned the things you mentioned, it clicked, and I wanted to also promote the video while I was doing it. So I figured I'd shill my own channel while I was doing it.
No, I mean, it definitely fits with what we're talking about. And we're definitely interested in technologies that, right? Privacy, portability, that's definitely, on the blockchain. So definitely up our alley.
Another thing that they're going to be working on, I mean, it's not going to be happening tomorrow, but they're working on creating different types of mesh networks to create their own ISP. Because because I've been looking into censorship a lot, and you could do a lot of different things that you guys are talking about, but there's one point of failure that you haven't.
The ISP is the point of failure.
Yeah, right? That's it. Yep. That's the biggest point of failure. And if you can cut that one out, then you're well ahead of the curve.
That's why a lot of I did a 3-day boot camp this last weekend. It was a prepper boot camp, and they did there's 80 classes, everything from self-defense, like as in Krav Maga. There was pistols, there was ARs, there was bows, there was axe throwing, axe making, there was butchering and homestead. I mean, literally, you name it. There was over 80 classes. It was fantastic. That is going to be one of the things that is offered as part of our project, which is going to be super dope. And I think I already told you this, Rice, but we need to get you. We need to get you with us for the backpacking trip at a minimum, bro. We'll definitely, we'll talk about that. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to have real experts in the field, survivalists that we are hiring to go out and survive, right, for a week or so, and really learn these different foundations of surviving, which is super dope. I'm excited about it. I know sounds like you'd like it and have fun.
No, I would definitely like it, man. I appreciate the invite. You got to keep me up to date.
For sure.
Okay, well, I know you guys are going to be going live in a half hour.
Yep.
I was telling you, Keeper, I have to eat in between us ending this and me joining the live stream because I have a burger from TGI Fridays waiting on me, and I haven't eaten all day.
Heck yeah,
so
dude.
I'm going to have links down below for your YouTube channel, for your Twitter account, for your YouTube channel, for the Twitter account, for your NFT project, Danger Close Alpha, and also include the Discord link as well, so people can check that out.
Heck yeah,
appreciate it, man.
Miguel, you guys, any final thoughts or anything you want to add before we wrap up today's conversation? And then I'll give it to you, Mr. Keeper.
Yeah, my final thoughts are that crypto is cool and you can make a lot of money, but crypto is a revolution. It's a movement, and NFT space and being involved you got to keep that mindset. It's a movement. It's a revolution. Don't just settle into whatever makes you money, because that's the way to lose your freedoms and your privacy, and that's the way they're trying to push us. Right? Don't get programmed and follow the herd. Think out of the box. Don't follow the herd, and that you'll do great things.
Well said. What about you, Keeper?
Yeah, the think outside the box was what kept ringing in my head. And then, of course, I had to steal that there at the end. I just want to say that, first of all, thank you again for having us on, Rice. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to having you on here in a little bit.
Definitely.
If you guys are looking for that kind of no frills, no BS, not going to rub your back, but kind of tell you how we believe things are, and actually make you expand your mind a little bit and ask some questions as it relates to not just the crypto crypto space, but maybe some political things and just life as a whole, come check us out. We'd love for you to come on over. We could really use the support with Danger Close Alpha. That is definitely a niche NFT project. So we're really trying to meet some people that are passionate about getting their family ready for, you know, what could possibly is to come. But yeah, man, we appreciate you having us on. We're super excited. Come on over, check us out. We'll have some fun. We will not let you down. So thanks, man.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys again, and I'll have links for everything that we just mentioned, everything I was just sharing, also for the first appearance of mine on Debate Crypto, and then I'll also include the link from tonight's appearance. We're recording this on the 18th of May. Not 100% sure when I'm going to release this, just because I'm working ahead for going to Austin. Speaking of, are you both going to be in Austin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We're gonna
Okay.
have some fun there, and for sure we'll catch up.
Cool. Maybe we can record some content in real life. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Sure.
So if you can bear with me 1 second, just going to wrap up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I do encourage you to check out everything that we talked about on today's show, and make sure you are subscribed over at Debate Crypto. Check out all the links. If this is your first time watching any of my videos and you've gotten this far, make sure you are subscribed. I will leave you with this. Be blessed, be the change, practice change. And I'll see you on the next episode.